Hi everyone, today is Wednesday, March 25th, and it's been such a long day. I woke myself up at like 3 in the morning and was thinking, going through the lesson plan for the observed class with the inspector for the homologation. Um, and then my usual 1 hour getting ready in the morning, so shower, breakfast, cooking for myself and for the kids for lunch, and then just really sitting down and typing out the lesson plan and preparing the examples that I wanted and the word search with the vocabulary words, the body for the labeling it, and I mean there were a couple little things I took it from the book, but so like I don't know, hand, ankle, or hand and wrist, and then toe, toe, ankle, and shoulder, back. So yeah, it's from the book, but I'll see what some of the doubts the students had on labeling it, but I didn't take that picture. I mean, it was from the book, and then from there also some grammar points that are in the book of the does it hurt? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. And try to get them to make sentences and yes, no, and labeling body parts. Does the ankle hurt? What's missing? And then taking that model and filling the gaps, which we also have in the book, and trying to get them to kind of take that model. Some of them were getting that, some not, and then trying to clarify what are we going to do for like 5-10 minutes, get them to practice that, and then also get them to point to something, get them the other student to say it, so getting them to interact with each other, and then turning it into a little bit of a guessing game. So taking those body parts and putting them on the cards, which are the vocabulary words in the book, and getting them to like, okay, pick one, and then the other one's trying to guess like, does your elbow hurt? Does your knee hurt? And then based on the fact like if it's neck, then like they're gonna say no, probably like 7 times, and then eventually when the person guesses like, okay, does your shoulder hurt? Oh yes, it does. So like that would be the thing, and then they take turns. So there'd probably be about possibly 7 that they would be saying no, and one of them that would be they would be guessing. And if they kind of put this back in the pile, the pile would be getting smaller and smaller. So for their guesses and taking turns, and then yeah, trying to get them to write some sentences with that. So that was just kind of keeping them on track and going like, okay, I think a majority of the group has gotten this word search. Majority has gotten the body parts labeled. Several of them have done this activity to come back and forth of guessing. So I got about 40-50 minutes of the activities, and then trying to just reinforce this topic, the body parts and the pain, and guessing where that is, and also relating this back to like if you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, does this hurt? Does that hurt? It's a little bit of a guessing game for the doctor as well to try to figure out for the diagnosis. And also we have a nurse, so the students are often asking like, hey, can I go see the nurse? This hurts. But if the nurse has to kind of guess and figure out like, does this also hurt? And then what I wanted to do with some of the CM2 students was take it a little bit further of like, what happened? So if it hurts, like, oh, I was walking and I tripped, or I was running and I fell, to explain like this was happening and then this. Some of them didn't quite catch the relationship between those two things, and it looks like in their French class they've gone through like imperfect, but they haven't quite done passé composé. But some of the native speakers were able to catch on that a bit faster. Some of the students who are like learning French as a foreign language, they were a little slower in that. So the class is kind of mixed in terms of where they are at in concepts of two different types of past. So I didn't want to insist too much on that, but that kind of exposes where they're at in their understanding of the grammar, and trying to see that across like 2-3 languages. And later with the the meeting with the inspector, kind of highlighting this kind of multilingualism in the school, and that is a benefit, a positive aspect of the school, and not that one is a translation of the other, but that they coexist. And so when I'm trying to highlight some of these grammar points and explain things between Spanish and French and English, it is a positive thing that I'm sharing with the students. And earlier in another class with the second, third graders, somehow somebody asked me a question like, "How many languages do you speak, teacher?" And I said 6, and then they're like, "Which ones?" And so English, Spanish, French, German, Italian, Russian, and then they're like, "Oh, you know Italian? Say something in Italian." And so it was just of all the languages that suddenly caught their attention that I mentioned Italian now, that their interest in that. But the fact that I'm teaching them English, like, not so much. Um, so it just reminds me of this one student who from Russia who living in Germany, and English was just a source of stress. But the second I said, "Hey, is there anything else you learned?" And then she just brightened up when she started talking about Italian. So it's just like, I don't know, embrace that. Try to take that joy that you have of um, this language, the culture, the cuisine, and things like that. Are just so if all of a sudden some of these students are curious about Italian, so like, "Hey, if you're interested, I can show you a little bit of Italian through English." But finding some hook to to get them interested in language learning. Um, but yeah, it's a long day, and then meetings after checking in with the inspector, and then as the language group of me, the Spanish teacher, and the French foreign language teacher for the Spanish speakers, and recognizing that also some of the students who are learning French as a foreign language, they're even like English speakers, not necessarily just Spanish speakers. So making that association of, like February, of février, or febrero, like trying to tease out some of those things in common. But the inspector also asking us, like, do we have tools, the three of us together, to build? And it's just realizing that throughout the week there's very little few moments to just kind of check in informally. How are things going? How's this? How are the classes? But to actually turn that into a meeting, and build on that, and actually, like, outside of working hours, outside of our free time, just like make that effort to have something in common that we can build and share with the students. So that's definitely something to kind of these next few months as a team to really put in place, and not just leave that as a wish list item, but actually, like, make it happen. And then this afternoon, the meetings went later, and then dropping off the kids, and then I had the conversation group, and then I finished early to go pick up some of the passport photos for my kids. That we took the photos yesterday, and tomorrow they're going to have an appointment for the French passport, and then dropping off those photos so I can do that. So it's just kind of keeping the day busy, waking up early, getting all the stuff ready for the visit, and I think it went better, and the inspector was sociable and approachable, and sharing some little insights and things, to help kind of keep the class kind of in the dynamic. So I appreciated that, and also the as working as a team, and also when I mentioned, like, for the primary school section, there are usually some meetings on, like, Monday at 2 o'clock, and I have a class, but technically it's just I'm observing this class. I'm not actually teaching something, so I could be in this meeting with the primary school teachers to kind of catch up on, like, what are some of these objectives, and being aligned with these other teachers and not like, because sometimes just having conversation is very minimal. But or unless something happens and then kind of, hey, what happened? So, but not only waiting for those moments where something happened, but be proactive on communicating like how are things with particular students, and being on top of their progress, their language level, and say, okay, in this language they're probably about this, and um, perhaps providing a certain certification or to say this is what their language levels are in these different languages. So being a bit more proactive on that. So um, hola a todos. Hoy es miércoles el 25 de marzo y hoy me desperté súper temprano y haciendo las cosas normalmente de preparar el día, pero también como tener un poco de tiempo ya, como ha sido una semana muy cargada y ya tener ese momento de planificar la clase que te iba a tener para la observación y tener los documentos y imprimirlos en la escuela y también una clase de reemplazar y luego un momento y preparar las cosas y poner los libros y los cuadernos y también eh, um, de dar la clase y seguir con las actividades de como unos minutos y seguir guiando, escuchando y también como hablar, escuchar, leer, escribir. Eso estaba como para desarrollar el tema y seguir con movimiento y esas oportunidades de como de checar su comprensión y poco a poco vamos a ir desarrollando eso y exponiendo donde hay dudas. Entonces estamos al inicio de ese capítulo y también había un momento de reunir después de yo tuve una clase observada, el profesor de español tenía una clase observada y luego como puntos en común y observaciones y pláticas de trabajo en equipo y reflexión sobre nuestro papel y de seguimiento y posibilidad de trabajar con herramientas en común para asegurar que los alumnos están avanzando con conceptos. Y eso lo vi también con una parte de intentar exponerles como eh, yo estaba caminando o caminaba y, no sé, me tropecé o me caí y imperfecto y luego pretérito o l'imparfait passé composé pero unas dudas y que como ok, no, que entiende que no, esos dos se complementan en el pasado y luego algunos no. Entonces es una oportunidad de ayudarles a entender esos tiempos para hablar del pasado, porque después, cuando están llegando a CISIEM, van a necesitar esas cosas. Y luego habían unas juntas después y terminamos el día más tarde que normalmente y llegué a casa y luego tuve el grupo de conversación en inglés y luego me fui temprano porque tuve que buscar unas fotos de pasaporte para mis hijos porque mañana tienen cita para su pasaporte francés y ahorita ya estoy cansado. Bonjour tout le monde, aujourd'hui c'est mercredi le 25 mars et ce matin je me suis réveillé comme 3 heures, pas par stress mais parce que j'étais obligé de me réveiller et en train de réfléchir sur la semaine très chargée, donc vraiment le temps de tout mettre en place, la classe que j'allais présenter pour l'observation et avoir les documents et les supports en place pour les imprimer à l'école et puis avoir un, deux, trois, quatre activités, comment chaque activité, comment 10 minutes et renforcer le thème, le vocabulaire, l'orthographe, le mot, l'associer avec la partie du corps, avec moi, avec leur partenaire, de comment identifier et après aussi de s'interroger de est-ce que ça fait mal ou aussi comment deviner de qu'est-ce qui fait mal. Euh, et un peu comme un médecin ou une infirmière, donc enchaîner. Donc on avait pour lire, lire, écrire, écouter, parler. Donc il y avait les quatre usages du vocabulaire et renforcer. Et c'est encore au début du chapitre et ça me met une problématique de où est-ce qu'il faut travailler par la suite et pas juste penser que, OK, ils ont tout compris, donc il y a certains trucs qu'ils ont compris, mais on va ajouter et être sûr qu'ils peuvent le retrouver ces mots et aussi les solliciter par la suite de voir ils ont compris ou pas. Euh, je crois que selon cet objectif-là, comment pas tout le groupe, mais une majorité a compris. Et donc, après, il y avait eu deux réunions après, entre les profs de langue et aussi entre les profs de primaire et parler ensemble. Et donc, ça a exposé certains thèmes de réflexion et de voir ce qui est en train de marcher. Euh, et j'espère que ces commentaires sont euh, positifs. J'ai l'impression, j'espère. Euh, et puis après, quoi d'autre? Donc, on a terminé tard pour l'après-midi. Après, j'ai eu le groupe de conversation en anglais. Je suis parti avant l'heure parce que je suis allé chercher des photos de passeport pour mes enfants parce que demain, ils ont un rendez-vous pour leur passeport français. Et donc, c'est vraiment une semaine très chargée. Mais demain, ça devient comme notre dernier jour de cours avant les vacances de Pâques. Et je crois que cette fois, c'est de vacances, 2 semaines méritées. Mais voilà, c'est tout pour aujourd'hui. Hallo an alle, heute ist Mittwoch, der 25. März und heute war ein sehr langes Tag für mich und ich bin um 3 Uhr aufgestanden und ich muss eine Stunde vorbereiten, ganz alle. Und diese Woche war mit viele Dinge zu tun. Also diese Morgen konnte ich arbeiten und vorbereiten. Und danach hatte ich eine Stunde mit Inspector und danach wir haben darüber die Stunde gesprochen und andere äh, Gruppe mit Primary gesprochen. Und diesen Abend hatte ich meine Gruppe mit Nachbarn Englisch zu sprechen zusammen. Und, aber ich bin früh ge 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 gegangen. Es gab ein Fotos von meinen Kindern für ein Postport und morgen haben sie ein Appointment und jetzt bin ich sehr müde und das ist alles für heute. Ciao a tutti, oggi è mercoledì, il 25 di marzo e è stato un lungo giorno. Ho cominciato alle 3 ore per levantarmi e e cominciare a preparare cose e soprattutto la lezione che ho fatto con ispettore, documenti, esercizio e pensare come voglio lavorare, vocabolario, parole, grammatica, contestare, o fare una domanda e rispondere sì, no, con parole di corpo. E penso che abbiamo lavorato molto, ma c'è inizio del capitolo e dopo questo abbiamo 2 settimane di vacanze per continuare, ma penso che è bene per cominciare. E dopo questo abbiamo parlato con l'ispettore, con altri professori di lingue, spagnolo, francese e inglese, e di come lavorare insieme o cosa abbiamo insieme per sapere che questi studenti possano conoscere le 3 lingue e dove non hanno capito e cosa possiamo fare per, um, per aiutargli. E stasera ho fatto un gruppo di conversazione in inglese con vicini e ho finito early perché ho sono andato per avere fotos di passaporto per i miei figli perché domani c'è un appointment con passaporto di Francia. Ora sono abbastanza stanco, questo è tutto per oggi. Всем привет с вами. Среда, это 25 марта, и это был длинный день для меня, и я должен готовить много вещей, потому что у меня был урок с инспектор, и думаю, что я смог делать, что я хотел делать со студентами, и 10 минут, 5-10 минут каждой activity. И потом у нас была встреча, чтобы разговаривать об этом и также как работаю с преподавателями, которые дать урок на испанском, на французском, и вместе что делаем как встреча и как tools. И после этого еще раз встреча с всеми. И, наконец, я был дома, чтобы отдыхать немного, и также у меня была встреча со соседями, чтобы разговаривать на английском. И также я был get фото для моих детей, потому что завтра у нас есть appointment для паспорта из Франции. Это все на сегодня. Большое спасибо. Пока.